Welcome to Feel Good Fridays here on the NECAT network, where each week we highlight a local nonprofit who serves the greater Nashville community. I'm Tyler Pittman, board chair at NECAT, along with fellow board member and local personality, Big Fella. Today, we will be showcasing the Education Equal Opportunity Group. For nearly 20 years, the EEOG's mission has been to prepare low-income and first-generation high school students to become college and career ready, as well as improve their quality of life. It is the EEOG's desire to witness rural and urban students advance their goals through highly engaging and specialized programs. We're very happy on this Feel Good Friday to speak with President, Founder, and Lead Visionary from the Education Equal Opportunity Group, George Thomas. George, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Pittman. And it's Friday, it's the new year, and I'm excited to be here.
Happy New Year. Tell us a little bit about your organization and how you got started, George.
So it's a simple phrase. It's really hard to be what you cannot see. And that's the premise that set the tone for the EEOG. The Education Equal Opportunity Group was really founded on the premise that when you have this undesirable passion that you want to take over the world or be successful as you see the people on TV, but you don't really know how to connect, right? And so I came up with a concept to really pair high school students from rural and urban areas with people who seem to have these pseudo careers that really don't exist to the eye, but they exist in every industry. But if people knew about those careers, my thinking was that it would align with the passion that so many students have, but they don't know how to tap into it. And so it started really on showcasing top business leaders from a variety of industries to look at how to explain to high school students how to get to the station. That's how we got started.
I know Big Fella here has got a connection. Tell us a little bit about, I think you were, Big Fella, you were part of a recent gala event, were you not?
Yeah, I hosted the EOG. They've been doing what is the gala? It's more of a fundraising gala for the organization. So they have basically 3 programs that I know. You got the Project Save a Student, which started a long time ago. I think I went to the first Project Save a Student. How long ago is that, George?
2002, when you kicked it off.
Almost 20 years ago, I went to the first one. I was a college student, and it was just a bunch of college students, and you got to meet business professionals and people who, had really high up positions that you wouldn't normally bump into. I met so many people through the EOG that I have good relationships to this day. People like, amazing people like, Steve Turner, with the Turner Family Foundation. Me and Steve got a super cool relationship because I met him working with the EOG, Greg Morton who was the president of AT&T at the time. These people we met and connected in such a cool environment. And they helped me with stuff. When would a college student or somebody trying to do anything be able to sit down with people like that, and have real conversations? And Greg let me use his office to do a pitch meeting. It's
wow.
Yeah, it's just relationships that you would never, ever, ever get to build. And they've been doing this for, like you say, 20 years. I've seen so many kids come and go. They do that program, the Project Save a Student. They also do the fundraising gala, which they started doing Pioneer Awards, where they honor people who are pioneers in their industry and raise money for the organization. And then one of the coolest things I ever seen, they do the speed networking, the career speed networking.
Oh, tell us about I'm curious about that one.
Man, listen, I'm gonna tell you, because it blew my mind when I went to the first one and watched it happen. So we have 50 or 100 kids come from all over the state, and they come in, and I went to one that was in Fisk University's gym. So to be in the gym, and it's almost like a speed dating thing, but there's 50 professionals there. So it's the general manager from American Airlines and somebody from Cigna Health, and name 5 companies that have people there, George.
Yeah, so you can meet the director of procurement at HCA. You can meet the assistant vice president of HCA. You can meet the president of Logan's Roadhouse. You can meet the executive director of the foundation for the Dollar General Foundation. And so it's you familiar with the brands, but you're not familiar with the people beyond the brands. And that was the premise. How can we shed light on the people that make the brands that you all know, but you don't know who works there? And so these are typically Fortune 50 to Fortune 500 senior level suite executives that spend time with high school students explaining how they arrived at the station. And so from we just had a Google Fiber, Lewis Roberts, who runs this entire region for Google Fiber. And so we're just trying to humanize the brands. And so young people can not only look at the brands as a cool thing, but as a process that they can transition to one day. Now they know a person on the inside that maybe looking like them or come from a similar background that they can actually emulate, if that makes sense.
I mean, that access is so key. I mean, like, I'm sure for especially a lot of students, high school students, they just probably wouldn't know otherwise how they could even get to a point where they could meet somebody from the company. So that's what a great service.
I tell you the most interesting part, not even get to a point to where you can meet somebody from the company. You never even know that these jobs exist. When you're in high school, you're not thinking that there's
right
a vice president. You don't even know what a procurement is, a vice president of procurement for HCA. Like, you have no idea that somebody does that job. It's kind of like the entertainment business. You see what's front facing. You see the artists, you might even see a manager or two, you see those people, but you don't realize that 75, 80% of the business, you will never see them. And those are the people that make it work. You don't know those jobs exist. So it's cool for those kids it opens their mind to the fact that those jobs exist everywhere. You look at a company, there's a vice president of procurement somewhere. There is a vice president of this somewhere. You would have no idea that that's even an option. So I feel him when he says that you can't be what you can't see. It's like you don't know if you don't know what you don't know, and the EOG, well, from what I've seen, the reason I support it so much is that it's just showing people a lot of stuff they don't know in their kids. And could you imagine, Tyler, being in high school and being able to build a relationship with man, what's my man who always worked with the EOG from Warner? What's his name?
John Esposito.
Yeah, could you imagine being in high school?
Espo.
He's
great.
Yeah, could you imagine being in high school and building a relationship with Esposito, and you don't even realize what he does, but the fact that you can call him and he'll talk to you and send you. Could you imagine what that would do?
I wish, like you. I mean, I stumbled into my job in the industry, but it's like having that at a high school level, and I just what a great opportunity. George, how has the pandemic affected what you're doing, though? I mean, obviously we've heard from different nonprofits. This is kind of like, a lot of the stuff that's in person. How have you adapted, or what have you been doing over the last several months, given the situation?
So we have a strong face-to-face mentoring model, right? And it's been drastically affected by the coronavirus with the restrictions that have been placed on our daily lives to keep us safe. And so being able to do virtual seminars and virtual simulcasts to connect with students who, in my opinion, are the hardest hit by this coronavirus. Every year they have a situation they call it summer learning loss, right? And so now we have an entire semester, a spring learning loss that will be compounded by the traditional summer learning loss. And our goal is to fill in the gap and keep inspiring young people with the message of self-efficacy with aspirations that they can get through this, because self-efficacy is all about making sure that you understand that you're the little engine that could. And so just making sure that we stay connected and stay positive and stay as an encourager to the young people with this virtual format, which is how we've been able to stay connected, but also be in tune to the students that we work with across the state and across these regions, because we've actually branched out. We have not only have students in Middle Tennessee, but across the state and across the Southeast region as well.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. Memphis, is that one of the other areas, or where?
Yes, the entire state. We can to Mound City, to Kingsport, all the way down to Memphis. And so that's we have a large range that we work with, and we work with several of the flagship universities. We talked about career speed networking last semester. We were able to partner with the University of Memphis and bring students from that region to campus, as well as the UT Chattanooga, and Chattanooga. So we have a pretty broad reach, but our reach is consistently of underserved, talented young people who really don't have solid plans or solid sounding boards on what happens after life after high school graduation. And that's where the EOG comes in and make sure that young people are thinking about the next steps, the next opportunities, and more importantly, how could they transition to get into their right lane and follow their passion.
And that leads me to one of your programs, the college level examination program, or CLEP. Can you speak into that a little bit?
So absolutely. CLEP is it's been around for a long time, and we partner with an organization called Modern States, right? And so Modern States has an initiative through the National College Board. And so we have a model that we will roll out this spring, and we already have 2 mayors that are signed on to the program, and we wait on a 3rd mayor. But the ideal is to have your freshman year for free. And when I say freshman year for free, we want to our goal is to allow students to take and pass the CLEP exam, where the core courses that you take as a college student, you get it. The more CLEP exams you pass, you save money, tuition dollars, because we able to offset that cost by a benefactor, and that's we rolling that out, and we piloting it. It's only in New York right now, but we're bringing it to Tennessee through two of my mentors, Elizabeth Dennis, who's a philanthropist here, and a young man named Lawrence Jackson. And so we've partnered with those individuals who serve on the board of directors of the nonprofit in New York, and we piloting our freshman year for free initiative, so young people can take the college level examination program, and when they pass that exam, they actually earn college credits, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. It's a fantastic, what a great program. Amazing. And I know it's not just for this, but also the 9 to 12 grade group. You guys offer this Leaders or Readers program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so LARP is another initiative that when you think about the issues that young people have faced as relate to disruption in the class, or not being able to stay focused or staying on the right path, is really young people have issues with reading, right? And so if you look at some of the stats from the proficiency rate on who's reading on grade level, who not on grade level, we have a lot of work to do in the state of Tennessee in the country as relate to public school students getting on that level, getting on that own grade level, reading level. And so the Leaders or Readers Initiative is for us to deliver what we call a tactical approach to help students with reading deficiencies that are freshmen through seniors. And we firmly seek to improve reading skills and their overall academic performance using some complex text and also addressing some of the rigors of the state standards. And so LARP is to moderately introduce like intensive skill building blocks for, again, our target market was students who are seeking to go to college and that happen to be from a challenging background. And my goal is for them to find success in literacy, as well as them to build on their reading comprehension. And we have a written expression, an essay component, and a vocabulary development component as well. And it's a 5-week series that we will run again to make sure that young people are looking at how they can become college, career, and society ready. And society ready is our main focal point and our goal. And so LARP, again, it's our way to just do 3 things: point out like confidence in reading by practicing, and the more you practice your reading, the better your reading becomes. And just to pivot and show that reading actually opens up doors to academic success. Or maybe you don't understand the first time, the second time, but on that third read, the passage may illuminate and you get it. And the ultimate thing, we just want to expand your potential, because the more vocabulary you know, the better you're able to communicate. And the Leaders of Readers Initiative is our way to identify young people who may be straddling the fence, but to get them to a point that they feel like reading is enjoyable, is fun, and it's something they want to do in their leisure time.
Fantastic. I mean, you have so much more. What other things? You have a lot going on. I just was going through the stuff on the website. There's so many programs. Tell us whatever else you want to talk about, because there's some great stuff here. I mean, you have fundraising events. You have speaker series. I mean, yeah, just tell us about some of these things.
Yeah. So our entire premise, like with the EOG, is to you really meet several of the unmet needs of young people, right? And so when first of all, we started with Project Save a Student, as Big Fella alluded to, and he's been a tremendous force as a testimony and also as a volunteer contributor and a consultant to our organization to really get us to the next level. And so Project Save a Student, we started off and we actually expanded our services to include our educational speaker series. So the educational speaker series allows the EOG to actually highlight young people where they are, but again, showcase talent, where we bring talent to the high school. And so just like you, Mr. Pittman, can you imagine you being invited to talk to a group of students that want to understand what goes on beyond the music, opposed to people that's on the microphone and on the stage? And so that's what we focus on, how we can, through the speaker series, showcase industry leaders that young people don't know that they actually are leaders and what they actually do. And it's more of an intimate fireside chat setting. And that's our focal point. We also have what we call our annual donor wine and donor appreciation and global wine tasting. It's our way to say thank you to the donors that participate, but also is meeting people in a social setting is a lot more relaxed sometimes than getting a cold call or a structured meeting. And so our deliverables are really designed for us to meet students where they are and to allow executives just like you to meet some of these students that have aspirations and visions of grandeur for the future, but they don't really know the best way to vision cast, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I've actually done a couple of speaking engagements with college, but I think getting in the high school level is probably more beneficial. I think what Big Fella was alluding to before as well is like just having that opportunity, having the, not knowing how not knowing that there is a way in there, that what goes on behind the scenes, and that there is opportunity for people to get into these kind of positions. So that's fantastic. When is the annual donor appreciation global? We probably haven't had that recently with the pandemic. So
Yeah, it's reserved for actually the last Thursday in November, but due to the pandemic, we scheduled it for a later date. But I just want to say that by supporting the EEOG, either with your time or your financial resources, you as a community leader, you allow college-bound high school students, whether they're in the 9th or 12th grade, who are typically low to moderate income from a rural or urban settings, participate in our programs. And so when we talk about it's hard to be what you cannot see, we operate that we create environments that are really built to encourage underserved students, to challenge them as an individual of the status quo, regardless of their zip code, right? We want young people to succeed inside the school as well and additionally in life. And so our core focus is just to invest in students, to create meaningful change, to prevent them from becoming high school dropouts, and to tap into that passion to believe that if better is possible, then good is not enough, if that makes sense.
absolutely. How do people get involved, if either by donation or if they want to like get involved in one of these programs? Is there? I know there's a website, but like you just let us what's the best way for people who want to get involved with your organization?
Yeah, so the best way to get involved is actually through our website, and it's E as in Eddie, E as in Eddie, O as in oxygen, and G as in George. And so EEOG.org is the way that you can sign up as a volunteer, or you can email me direct at gthomas at EEOG. Again, your time is paramount, and spreading the word. I know it's the new year now, but we just finished our end of the year virtual fundraising gala, but donations are always welcome. And in order for us to offset the cost for students to participate in our program, so the expense is not an issue, we will encourage you to invest in the EEOG with your financial resources to help us meet, again, some of the unmet needs of the students that we serve.
Look, I tell you something, Tyler. It's interesting with the Education Equal Opportunity Group. So, like you said, they've been around almost 20 years, and how many kids, George? How many kids have come through that program?
Over 20,000 high school graduates, Tyler.
Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing.
And when we were at the gala that happened a couple months ago, there was a young man that spoke, and his story was so crazy. He said that he heard about this at school. He was he a student in Memphis?
No, Nashville.
Okay, so he was a student in that.
He's a teacher in Memphis now.
Okay, so he was a student. He heard about this program. Him and his friends were like, okay, we get out of school for a couple of days and go to this thing down at the Capitol, and we can go. He went there and he said it changed his life. He met people that he learned he could do whatever he wanted to do and made relationships. And now he's gone on to where he's a teacher in Memphis, and he's teaching kids the same thing that he learned. And he came back and just told his whole story. He wouldn't be a teacher right now if he wouldn't have came trying to just get out of school for a couple of days, changed his life, and now it's changing the lives of a bunch of little kids in Memphis. Those stories are countless. I met so many of those kids that have gone on to do so many amazing things. They're all over the country, all over the world. And if you ask them, they'll tell you like, yeah, I wasn't thinking about any of this until I went to that Project Save a Student conference trying to get out of school for a couple of days and end up meeting people that changed my thought process. And it's really, really cool. 20 years of that, that's why I always support it. Just anything I can. It's amazing what it does for the kids. And this is George Thomas all day, every day. This is what he does all day. You ask anybody, they'll be like, yep, here comes George Thomas trying to ask for some money to help these kids.
An amazing service.
So let me chime in on that just a minute. And so the one thing that Justin didn't share, Justin did graduate from high school, and he went to MTSU, and he got in some academic trouble at MTSU, and I was checking up on him because he's actually a poet. And I was calling him about one thing, a poetry slam, but he told me the issues that we was having with MTSU, and I made a call to Dr. Sidney McPhee. Dr. McPhee is the university president, right? And so Justin, Dr. McPhee, and his mom and dad, we all had a meeting about what Justin can do to get on the right path, because college is overwhelming that first semester and the grades suffer, right? And so Dr. McPhee personally invited Justin to be among his mentees, right? To bring him along as the university president. MTSU, one of the flagship universities, bring him along. And now, not only did he graduate from MTSU, Justin has his master's degree, and he's teaching at the university, at high school in Memphis, encouraging others about this whole self-efficacy piece. But every young person doesn't have the opportunity to meet with the university president. And Dr. McPhee took my call, all the calls that the university president takes, he took my call and put us on the schedule immediately to see what we can do about helping this young man to get back in school. And now he's inspiring young schools in young people in West Tennessee to take education seriously, but more importantly, sharing his testimony about how the EEOG and people who invested in him made it possible for him to be where he is right now. And so the EEOG is pretty much a way for young people who on cruise control to press that fast forward button and to accelerate your opportunity to meet the Tyler Pittmans of the world and the Espos of the world, and the Tom Blacks of the world. And so when you think of people like Bill King, Steve Turner, Lawrence Jackson, it's so many people. We talked about Greg Morton, one of my favorite people, Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally, State Representative John DeBerry. So it's Governor Bill Haslam. And so we've been full circle and pointing out what's possible for what we consider sometimes young people that are labeled as the last, the least, and the left out. They have the potential, but they don't have the opportunity or the access. And so the EOG is in that lane to make sure that not only can you access this person can just with a pen can write you a letter of recommendation to get in your dream school, get their dream intern, and more importantly, get you on that right path. And so we're a small organization with the biggest heart in the world, pouring out opportunities for young people, and that's why it's got started. It got started to make sure that regardless who you are, right? We not trying to find a needle in a haystack. We just buying the whole haystack, and that's feel like we feel like all the needles gonna come out sharper, shinier, and pointier in the right direction.
Wow. I mean, I don't think you could get a better Feel Good Friday story than what you just relayed, George.
And I tell you, Ty, listen, that story with Justin,
that's many, right? That's just one of many.
That's one of many. It's so many stories I hear with parents, and they were like, yeah, Mr. Thomas, he went with us to go talk to the head of this, or took them to the school a week before they went so they could be comfortable and see the campus. I'm like, I don't understand where he finds the time to do all of this, but I guess he does because it gets done. And it's crazy, man. It's really crazy. Wow. It's like, it's real, you know. It's like they're I don't want to say anything about any organizations, but it's real. It's like it actually does what it says it does, and it does it consistently, and it's been doing it, and it never stops, you know. It's like if you want to put time, effort, energy, financial resources into something that's actually doing that job of helping those kids, I don't know a better place than the EOG. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. It's really cool. I've never seen anybody that does that much hands-on and connecting low-income kids from rural West Tennessee with the CEO of some corporation, and they build a relationship, you know, and this kid ends up interning with the Predators or something. It's really, really interesting, man.
It's fantastic. George, we're right about out of time now, but before we go, can you give me one thing you're feeling good about this Friday?
I'm feeling good about life. My daughter on the swim team at Hartman Park, and I'm happy about that. So she just swam all the way down the pool by herself. So I'm just I remember she was scared of shallow water. Now she's swimming in the deep. So I'm living life, man. And I know it's a pandemic, and I pray for people to stay encouraged in this particular time. But you know, protect your mind and protect your health, and so and donate to the EOG.
And just great, fantastic. We want to thank our guest, George Thomas, for joining us here on Feel Good Fridays on the NECAT Network. For more information or how to get involved with the Education Equal Opportunity Organization, please visit www.eeog.org. George, big fella, thank you so much for sharing this Friday with us.
Peace, Nashville.
Take care.
Thank you. EOG 2021.